Welcome to the Care Sis podcast with me, Ki and Kiki.
Join two friends for a conversation around self-care in real life. We'll talk about anything on the spectrum from bubble baths to setting boundaries to managing friendships and more.
As your sisters, we also just want to provide a weekly check-in. You know, like big sis asking little sis, sis, you good? So come on in, sis. Let's talk about how we can take better care of ourselves. What's up, Kiki?
What's up, Ki? How are you, sis?
I am good. I've had a fantastic weekend hanging out with my little friends. You know, there's this meme floating around the internet, and it's just like, growing up, your mom wasn't one of your little friends, but now look at you as an adult. Look at her, your little best friend.
Yep.
And yeah,
I told my mom the same thing. I was like, look at you now, my little friend. And she just laughed, like, because she can't say nothing. Can't say nothing.
Yep. So my little friends came up for a day party yesterday. Their social life is so much better than mine. But anyway, so they came up for a day party, and then we had dinner, and then we hung out today. And it was beautiful because my mom is like the coffee queen of the family. So I made sure yesterday when I was out, I got one more because them shits is expensive. But I got one more coffee creamer, and I got to make her and my dad coffee today. So it's, you know, it was a special day.
Look at you being sweet. I've done nothing this weekend. My parents too went to a birthday party, so I'm like, why am I the one that's home? Doesn't make sense.
I can't explain it, but that is my life. My parents and their vast social life.
Nothing wrong with that.
And they've been talking about it. Yeah, and so when you was dancing, I'm gonna just eat my food.
Well, hopefully they enjoy themselves.
They did. So that's what's up. So yeah, last week we had the episode where I did all that damn talking, but I was telling y'all about like how to be more vigilant and, you know, how to go into this voting season, you know, with a little bit more effectively.
Yes, it was a very informative episode. She gave you enough for you to make an informed decision, in my opinion. A lot of stuff that we had to think about that I usually don't think about because I'm a last minute voter. Like, oh, let me go cast my vote. Let me go look at these people real quick. I hate to admit that, but you know, it happens. But I be voting. Okay.
That's what matters. Sis votes.
Yes. So we talked about all the issues on the ballot, the reproductive rights, voting rights, gun rights, climate change, and of course, student loan forgiveness, which is still on hold. But we hoping that they gonna go ahead and send our monies to these companies. Because I need them to wipe that debt out. Please wipe it out for me. Thank you.
Please. Thank you.
But anyway, also we did a little small poll on Instagram asking you all, have you voted yet? And most people said that not yet, but they plan on voting soon. So I'm guessing all y'all are going to early voting. Yes.
Listen, y'all better stop playing, okay? Stop playing.
Early voting. I was proud of my parents too because they went to early voting. They usually don't be trying to go vote.
My parents went together the other day. Oh my God, they're so cute, retired. But they went together, and then my dad all posted about it. And he's such a, listen, we need to do a whole episode about how like dads change or something. My dad, you know, he's been around, but like this portion of his marriage, he's so engaged and like all over my mom and all super lovey-dovey. And I'm just like,
It
So I
must
gotta,
it must be a getting older thing because I think that they're starting to feel their emotions more and be all I don't know. Because it's
I want a
the same
soft
thing.
life. Do I have to wait 30 years to, so I gotta get married and wait 30 years for that? Because
I hope not. Like bring me your engagedness now. Bring it here now.
come now. Come with it now.
Come on now. Come on into my arms now. Come on.
I'm not able. I'm not able. Mm.
Okay. So that was our episode last week. Y'all know we asking y'all next about these ratings and reviews. I'm gonna pull a key real quick. Come closer. Come closer. I need you to hear this. We need y'all to do these ratings and reviews, please. I'm asking you nicely. I got all this beautiful makeup on. I'm smiling at you. I need you to go and do a rating and review. Thank you. Apple Podcasts, go ahead and leave a review. 5 stars, please. Spotify, all you gotta do is hit 5 stars. That's it. You ain't even gotta write nothing. Just hit 5 stars. That's all. That's all you gotta do, friend. So, ratings and reviews. We're gonna remind y'all every week. Please and thank you. We love y'all for real.
I haven't had caffeine today. This is why the yawning. Mm-hmm.
Girl, don't start that.
I made my parents coffee, but I neglected to make myself any.
Now, come on.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Lord. Y'all pray for us through this episode.
Because now I got the yawns.
All right, self-care. What have you done? What's been the highlight of your week? Sis.
My period is over.
That's always a great thing.
Huh?
Just always a great thing.
It came. She terrorized. She gone.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly what they do. Terrorize your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm here. Have you seen the TikTok of the girl that was talking about her period and she came in as a guest and was like, I have a reservation here. And the lady at the front desk was like, what? She was like, yeah, I have a reservation. I'm just gonna stay a few days, thanks. And just bust through and went to her room. Started terrorizing the hotel. That was the analogy. I was like, you know what? It's true. Because it comes in and does what it wants to. But anyway.
Helpful.
So, self-care for me has been the just making sure I get my bath soaks in because they make me feel so much better physically. They make me sleep better. They make my bones feel better. I just sound like an old lady, don't I? Oh well.
Listen, my last roommate, she was a bath girl, and I don't have the energy because and it's weird, right? My tub is clean, but you feel like I feel like I got to clean the tub a little extra to take a bath first of all. Then I got to shower, then get out the shower, then run the water to take the bath, and that's just 17 too many steps. I like to get in the shower, be done with it. So I'm not a big bath person, but my mom was admiring my tub today, and she's like, yeah, that's such a big tub. And I was like, yeah, I want to take a bath in it, and
I really look forward to the day where I actually have a separate garden tub or something, because I really can't stand having to clean the shower and the tub all the time. But I also know that I need to be in the tub like at least once a week.
I'm going to try to incorporate it more, because I said that moving forward, I'm going to make sure that I can budget massages into my budget. Mm-hmm. And I really need to massage and a bath. I just want to shower.
I get it, friend. I get it. You're gonna do it. I have faith in you. You're gonna do it.
You shouldn't. I'm gonna probably shower again tonight. Probably not bad.
I didn't say it was gonna happen tonight. I said I have faith that you're gonna do it. That does not mean today. It don't mean tomorrow. It means that you're gonna do it
before 2022 is over.
Yeah, I got a lot of faith in that. All right, y'all. It's time for our For the Culture.
For the culture. For the culture.
For the culture. For the culture. For the culture. For the culture. Okay. That's our theme song. We're gonna make it into an actual song one day. But anyway, speaking of voting, I found an article on the Huffington Post that said that there were 5 states with slavery on the ballot. Yeah, so basically these states are deciding whether to choose to close to the loopholes that allow convict labor as an exception to slavery. And those states are Alabama, Louisiana, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont. So this is why.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, this is why Ki told us to be vigilant in who or what we are voting for, because the way people say things matters, and the way the laws and amendments are written matters. So language is important. That's why we have that whole documentary on the 13th Amendment, because it was a bunch of bullshit. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I can't speak for the latter states, but I know definitely for sure Alabama and Louisiana, those states are heavy with private prisons, privately owned prisons. And you may or may not be aware that like the prison labor is a thing, right? One of the most common things that a lot of prisoners make is like license plates, right? And that seems minor, but somebody got to do it, truthfully. So, but prison labor, you know, anything from picking up the roadways to, again, license plates. They refurbish things because you have all these different programs, you know, like your friends or loved ones go get locked up and they get some type of certificate, whether it be electrician or whatever. Well, they have to practice, and they end up doing things like, I don't know, refurbishing cell phones. And then that labor now is free because they've been doing it, and now they mark up. So I was watching something this week, as a matter of fact, and they were talking about how like televisions and stuff, right? TVs at the prisons, because government contracts are shady and they are what they are. But like if a government office, for example, needs, I don't know, a new TV, it's never really that they just go buy the one TV. No, they have to buy them in bulk. So all the offices are now getting TVs. So if they need one, they end up buying 30, right? Not every TV was messed up. So you now have these TVs. When the jail gets ready to sell the TVs that they probably got at a hella discount, they now mark them up a lot of percents. They also sell these to inmates. So if you're unaware, when you go to jail, you not only pay for the cost of like the courts and that fee, but you also actually pay a fee to be in jail per year. So when North Carolina back in July, they passed this law, and now people who were convicted felons, they can now, like if they're out, they can now vote, right? And it used to be that you could vote, but like if you were convicted felon, you could vote, but you had to pay your restitution and your fees. And that's what those things are. Your restitution is basically like rent for jail. When I just tell you, like, listen, there are people that very much deserve to be somewhere else other than in general population, right? They deserve to be somewhere. But when I think about even, you know, being taken from normal society is rough enough, right? But now I'm also, you know, a lot of people get into crime, especially kids and whatever, they get into crime because they don't have resources. So now we require them to have more resources? Make it make sense, Jesus. Anyway, so Alabama and Louisiana are big on the private prisons, so this is very problematic. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so those lawmakers are definitely going to make it nice. And well, you know what? The Alabama and Louisiana lawmakers, they ain't even slick about theirs. They have no shame, nothing. They literally will be like, amendment, plain English, everything. Whereas, North Carolina might make it flowery and pretty and be like, oh, this is a referendum for a new bond for the revitalization of our jails. They'll say something like that. Not Alabama, Louisiana. They don't care. So they're going to be like, we need prison labor. They don't care.
I mean, it's easier for us to understand if they actually put it on the ballot the way it's supposed to be. But that's another conversation.
That people still don't vote.
We're telling y'all, vote. Please vote. In other news, Brittany Griner, she lost her appeal against that 9-year prison sentence that she has in Russia. So what did they say? She could serve like up to 7 years or something. I can't remember what it said, but what are your thoughts about this? Because it's ridiculous.
I have mixed emotions. So 2 things, and none of these things that I'm about to say aren't necessarily fair, but they're true, right? Traveling is different for Black people, period, right? Anti-Blackness is a thing, and it is everywhere. It is global. So it is way different for Black people, Black women to travel, right? Like there's even, like I love it when, my Black friends, oh my God, girl, they snatching up women in Greece. They ain't finna snatch you up, sis. It's not you they want. It's, you don't fit the demographics. Now, what they will do though is, sometimes they do, because we have good genes and because we have good bodies and because we have, because we're anti-human. So they have been known to kill Black people for organ harvesting and all that other stuff. That is true. It is not as common as people think. But again, they're not doing a whole lot of snatching up of the Black women, right? Just again, statistically, y'all can look it up. Y'all can fight me. I don't care. Look up the data. It is what it is, right? Traveling is different for Black women. That's not fair, but it is what it is. So when you go to these other countries and you get convicted of, you go to these other countries and commit a crime, traveling is different for Black people. So you commit a crime and you might be Becky, and you might get a slap on the wrist, or you might get even let go. Brittany Griner? Nah, fam. Nah, right? So that's number one. And then with that said, Americans being caught in Russia, you have to understand that the next thing is, you're not just the average prisoner. You're not just the average prisoner just go over there, you're going to be sentenced, it's going to be, no, it's not like that. Again, traveling for Americans is different too, because I don't know why they seem to think that Americans hold so much clout or Americans are so much richer. But if you get caught up in another country, this is why you have to be super vigilant. You get caught up in another country, they're going to take you as a prisoner or a hostage just because you're American. Typically the white women, but sometimes Black women too. They're going to take you hostage or whatever just because you're American. And this is where another thing that's not fair, but Brittany's being held, truthfully, or one of the reasons why Brittany's being held is it's a political strategy on Russia's part. And I don't know if you've paid attention, but the Russian Vladimir, he's played Biden to his face, talking about, look, Biden could have came and rescued Brittany, but if Biden could have came, like, why Biden got to come rescue Brittany? Like, what kind of games are y'all playing? So y'all should see that, you know, it's a political game, and it's unfortunate, but Brittany's caught in the middle of that thing between the United States and Putin. And I'm going to say the United States because the only person that has got along with Putin has been 45. No one gets along with him, especially not Biden. Biden can't stand that dude. They don't like each other, like, for real. Like, I think I don't know if they dated the same woman. I don't know. But they have an extra towards each other. And Putin, like I said, he played Biden's face. Like, Biden could come get her, but instead he's worried about, and I'm just like, y'all know that, and Americans fell right into it because they're like, oh my God, Biden could have came. That is not Biden's job. He is the figurehead. He's supposed to be right here. That's the Secretary of the State. That's supposed to do that. And Biden literally calling out our president, them fighting words. So anyway, it's unfortunate the situation Brittany's in. I don't know the best situation, because what Russia is looking for in exchange for Brittany is also very dangerous. So it sucks. It really does. I feel for her family. I feel for her. And then there's the part that, you know, me being a little bit more of a rules person. I'm sorry, y'all, my nose. I was trying to be cute and I took my allergy meds in 2 days. So now my nose is on fire. So anyway, yeah, like, I'm kind of a rules person. And marijuana is illegal in Russia, even in a vape pen. So sis, why are you flying back and forth? Why? Now, there's a conspiracy that she didn't do it and they planted it. I don't know. Because I do know Americans, y'all act like y'all can't do nothing without these damn vape pens. Can't go nowhere. Oh, where can I smoke? Where can I go outside? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know those answers, but I just know that y'all need to keep your heads on the swivel. And when you're traveling, make sure that you are traveling and being vigilant. You're traveling and being smart. I highly suggest don't travel alone, but, you know, Instagram makes traveling alone cute. I ain't done it yet because I know I act like I ain't got no sense when I go abroad. I'd be like, ooh, let's try this. You mean that over there in that dark corner? Yes, let's go. I cannot travel alone. I shouldn't.
Oh my goodness. No, I get it. Like you said, the rules are the rules. You have to really just be aware of your surroundings, especially in other countries. Aware of what you're doing, what you're taking, and of the rules of other countries, because we're not at home, sis. We're not at home. It's just like going to somebody else's house. You can't act like you do at home at somebody else's house.
No. And I just want to remind all my marijuana smokers, right? There's like 13 countries in the entire world. 13 in the entire world where marijuana is legal. I need y'all to, like, be better about it. I know that they're, like, even Amsterdam, like Switzerland, marijuana is actually illegal. However, Amsterdam, they kind of overlook it and they're completely okay with it if you are consuming Amsterdam weed in Amsterdam. But if you try to take it out of Amsterdam, or if you try to take it into Amsterdam, is the worst. Please don't come over there and try to sell your drugs over there in Amsterdam. That is crazy. But yeah, like, even Amsterdam, where everybody goes over there to smoke, but you better keep it right there. So yeah, I need more people to be more aware of that, because marijuana is literally only legal in like 13 countries. 13 in the entire world.
Hopefully y'all pay attention to that tidbit, please. Because we don't need another situation like this.
As much as y'all be smoking me out around here, it's not legal here in the States yet either.
Not everywhere, nope.
Moving on. My horticulture. Kanye's in deeper trouble. Why?
What did he do this time?
Oh, because by the time we talked about him last time, what we mentioned was his issue with the Floyd family. Now he done lost his Adidas contract. So Yeezys.
He's lost everything. Everything is coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Losing contract.
His contract, and not just his contract with Adidas, he's lost a couple other contracts too. So I know y'all Kanye stans, y'all defend him every chance y'all get, but now he came back and apologized. And the apology went as crazy as anything else he says. He apologized to the Jewish people, but then said that he was a vessel of God. So, he was just speaking what God told him to say. And then he went on further to say that he really can't be racist or anti-Semitic because he himself is a Jew. Kanye. Mm-hmm. I think Kanye is diving over into the Hebrew Israelite wisdom.
Do they claim to be Jews though?
Mm.
Okay. Anyway. I mean,
they, as a matter of fact, are the original Jews. They are, again, Hebrew Israelites, and they aren't your modern day, like, European Jew. They are Jews from direct descendants from Jerusalem, I guess. And they all happened to be men of color.
Mm-hmm. I don't even want to go into that.
So you got the Jewish who went from Jerusalem to Europe, and then you got the Jewish who went through Northern Africa and somehow ended up in like Palestine, Israel, that area, and then somehow they came to the United States and they're Hebrew Israelites. I just know that they usually own the black vegan spots, and they be real good. The vegan food be real good.
Of course it does.
That's all I know. There was this one called, what was it called? Something for Life in the DC area. That food was banging. But yeah, that was some good vegan food. Mm-hmm. They are no longer in business, but it's amazing. Yeah. And then the other thing that I was going to talk about was damn it, I forgot.
You sure? Do you need to walk out of the room and come back in, and maybe it'll come back to you?
Probably. Yep. Hold on.
It's coming back.
Oh, listen, I am obsessed with. Okay, so I really like the Beyonce. I ended up being a huge fan of the Beyonce album. I know that when we first reviewed it, I was like, meh. But the more I listen to it, the more I love it. I love who Beyonce is as a grown woman, right? And she is speaking for grown-ass women. Because when I tell you that most of Renaissance is all about her being sexually liberated, I love it. I love it. And I hear more and more every time I listen to it. But Cuff It was one of my favorite songs in the beginning. TikTok has ruined it for me. TikTok has ruined Cuff It for me. I was so mad the first time I saw the Cuff It challenge. I was like, no. But what I am obsessed with when it comes to the Cuff It challenge is there was this group of non-Black women, and they did the challenge, and they didn't execute it well. I'm obsessed with all of the stitches to their video. Listen, today my mama showed me one where my mom was on the floor. She was in tears, but the guy, he is like, I had to sprint to the comments. So he brings up the comments, and my favorite comment about this video was, the beat is outside waiting in the parking lot.
What was the one I sent you? It was like, the beat was like, is it me? Am I off beat?
I am obsessed with those stitches. Y'all can keep your cuffing challenges. I don't really want to see anymore.
I stand by what I said. That one girl in the front with the striped dress on was
her idea.
You said what?
It was her idea.
Mm-hmm. She's the only one that was kind of on beat. The other people made her look bad because they were all in other songs.
Yo.
They all had different songs in their head.
The seasoning guy, he got me too. The one
the seasoning wasn't there. Just put some seasoning salt on it, please. We need some garlic powder, some onion powder,
Yeah. I'm obsessed with those, so that's my for the culture.
And they keep coming. Like, these stitches just keep coming. I was like, the one I sent to my friend. She was like, wow, they are clowning their own people. I don't.
Listen, a win's a win. A win is a win. No, I'm just kidding. A joke is a joke. Funny is funny.
Okay. Last for the culture that is going to spill over into our topic. I know Ki went and saw this movie way, way, way long ago. I saw it about 2 weeks ago. When did we have our event? 2 weeks ago? Yeah, that's when I went to see it. So I went to see The Woman King. Loved it. And I thought it'd just be a good thing to talk about some of the things or some of the thoughts I had after watching it, mainly centered around the decisions that they made throughout their lives as women. It was an incredible story. It showed the strength of a woman. But let's look at a few other things that I took away from it as well. So these are my opinions. Like last week, he was like, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. So she will add hers in as well. And of course, we would love to hear what y'all think after, because y'all be quiet. But anyway, I digress.
Hold on, before we get started, I have one more opinion. Can you please go see Wakanda on opening weekend so we can talk about it? Because I ain't gonna be able to wait 6 weeks.
Is it opening? Is it the 11th?
I just can't even look.
Is it the 11th? I'm asking you a question. Don't look at me like that.
Yes, it's the 11th.
I have plans that weekend, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see it.
You know, it opens Thursday night, right?
Yeah. I'll see. Ma'am.
Go on, friend. Let's go ahead. We're going to talk about Woman King.
No, you just look like, you know what, y'all? I don't want to talk about it no more because I don't like the look and the tone she just gave me. I don't like that. You need to do that over. I'm going to need you to have some spunk in this. Like, I'm going to need you to be smiling. I'm going to need you to be like, let's talk about the Woman King.
Let's talk about the Woman King.
Thank you. Still solid. Anyway. Don't mind us. Anyway, one of my first reactions was at the beginning of the movie when the women warriors of the Dahomey Tribe, they were fighting to protect their tribe. But I just noticed that these women were like average size, I would say. I'm not gonna say I'll say that they were thick, but they're average size women. They're not like skinny. They're not like small and athletic. They were like average size, thick, strong women. Don't see that all the time. Most of the time, they have just like the athletic type that everyone thinks is supposed to be strong, but not like those women. So I was like, I guess I was just like jumping for joy in my heart, like, oh yes, we got some women that's like that look like me, yay! Although some of them were tall too, tall, slim, tall, thick, all of them. So I just love the variety of sizes that were on the screen of Black women. So this made me think of the women warriors, I guess, made me think of how much they were respected by their tribe. But also thinking about, I guess, the U.S., how women weren't even allowed to fight in the military until around 1948. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I researched. So most of the time they served in non-combat roles. So to see this way before what we would see in our army was also empowering.
Yeah, so let me just say that, like, this is actually based on a true story, or let me rephrase. This is a depiction based off a true, the Dahomey are real people.
Right.
And they were a real tribe. They were, no, I'm sorry. So the tribe isn't the Dahomey, the warriors are the Dahomey. But this tribe, whose name I forgot, they are an actual people. There are historical events, or there are historical accounts about them. So this is a historically accurate movie. So that brought my attention first and foremost. So I got really into the backstory of this whole thing because I saw several interviews with some of the actors, but especially Viola Davis, who is the executive producer, or her company, her and her husband's company, the executive, what's the word? They produced executively.
The executive producer.
Okay, they were the executive producers of this film. And when Viola, she talked about, so one of the interviews, they were on the Breakfast Club, and so it was asked, like, did you really have to fight for this movie? And she was like, I had to fight every turn. But that was one thing she talked about, was the depiction of the bodies, because she was like, we wanted it to look realistic, because a lot of times you see these warrior women in these movies, and or women that are fighting back, or being aggressive, whatever, and yeah, they're all thin and whatnot, and that tends to what happens to these Hollywood types who start working out for these films, right? They get all thin. However, Viola and her crew, oh no, they was on the protein supplements. They was doing all the things because they were trying to look muscular. And
Girl.
So Viola, she put on like 20 pounds of muscle for this role. And she was like, but it was so hard because people don't realize Viola's 60. So it was hard for her. But she looked like a badass in this movie. Oh my God.
Those abs were tight, honey. I was like, I think about every 15 minutes, I was like, Mom, you see those abs? Because me and my mama went to see it. I was like, you see her abs? Like,
you and your friend.
You said what?
I said, you and your little friend?
Yes, me and my little friend.
Listen, all I could think about was how much she didn't, like what she didn't eat. Like she didn't have a brownie for at least a year. Because not with those abs. Mm-mm.
Girl, I'm just admiring from afar, just like, I'm like a kid in the theater, like,
she didn't have birthday cake. At least a year. Yes, that's sacrifice. So yeah, but she talked about that specifically. She talked about how she wanted the women to be muscular first and foremost, because it had to be realistic when they were going to be doing. Now, granted, there are martial arts style that teaches you it. They were developed for the tiny. I think it was developed for women, or at least tinier frame Asians. But you're able to throw around people that are like twice your size. But Viola was like, we wanted it to be realistic. I couldn't very well be throwing around this 6'2", like the guy that she ends up fighting. Right. They were like, she was like, I couldn't be throwing around this 6'2", almost 300-pound man and be skinny. She was like, so it had to look realistic. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate the thought that went into this movie. Like every single thing Viola thought about, from the way they talked, from their accents to the colors of everything, to
shot beautifully.
The costumes, the cinematography, like it was also very beautiful. It was also very thoughtful. And the depiction of the Dahomey are used in Wakanda, because y'all know Wakanda's not real. Black people don't know Wakanda's not real. Okay. So because Black people, we thought Wakanda was real for a little bit, at least on Twitter. So, but anyway, the Dahomey, the women fighters are the women fighters that are in Wakanda.
Yes. So I'm mission accomplished, because if she was talking about that, then it definitely came through the screen, because I was like, oh my God. Well, we both were like, oh my God, like these are real women, like average women that we see every day. We could be that.
And it's cool, like thinking back to it, even in Wakanda, and I don't think that Coogler did this on purpose, but even when you're talking about Wakanda, the movie, the women that were the warriors, they were all thin. Like, look at, what's his name?
Denai Guerrero?
The love interest, Channing Boseman's love interest.
Lupita.
Lupita, yeah, Lupita. Her name is Nakia, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so for all of y'all wondering what my name means, there we go, or where it came from. So anyway, Lupita, sis is thin. And she was out there fighting, and okay. So yeah, so the stark difference even between this and the Dahomey that were represented in Wakanda. So yeah.
Yay! I'm glad that you said that, though, because I didn't watch the Breakfast Club interview, but glad that it came across the way that it was supposed to, at least to me. The next thing that kind of stood out to me was, in the movie, it kind of not popped out, but the decision that a lot of the warriors had to make before they became warriors is like, either you're going to be a warrior or you're going to be a wife. There was like this two clear paths of what a woman could do in her life. One of the main characters, the girl who was training to be a warrior, the reason she went to be a warrior or was thrown into is because she refused to be a wife to a man that was going to beat her, which is very understandable, because I wouldn't either. And also, the main character, who her name is Naniska. I'm guessing I'm saying that right. Viola's character. You said what?
That's how they said in the movie.
Okay. So she was a victim of sexual assaults and also had a child from that sexual assault. But because of that, she decided not to marry and to actually be a warrior. So it kind of catapulted her into this path of being a warrior for her tribe instead of succumbing to a life of a wife with someone who is not an ideal husband. So the warriors, once they became warriors, were made up of strong-willed women. Some were captured. Some just chose to live their life as a warrior. But if they chose to be a warrior, they could not marry or have children, which is interesting because the men who were soldiers or were warriors could, but the women couldn't. So, little interesting tidbit there. I'm guessing they thought that women couldn't do both, that they couldn't nurture the home and take care of a husband while being a warrior, or it would take away from their strength or something. But I kind of figured that it mirrors the dilemma that we have today when people make the decision, or women make the decision, to either focus on their career or run their businesses, or if they try to find some kind of work-life balance while doing both. And it's still a struggle. We all struggle with it. So that's what kind of stood out to me in that. What do you think, Nakia?
Oh, so many thoughts. Patriarchy, right? It's a funny thing, but it has been around since forever. Women have always, unless you are royalty, women have always been looked at as property of men, right? If you want to go biblical, um, if you want to go biblical, going back to not Adam and Eve, because that's a weird story. The more and older I get, the weirder that story gets. Because how are we all descendants of Adam and Eve? Then that means we all like cousins and stuff. It's weird. So I'm gonna move on. Let's go to Abraham and Sarah, right?
Right.
That whole story. Whereas Abraham loved Sarah, truly loved her. Like you think about how, and it's not just the Abraham and Sarah story, even go down to his son, whose name I can't remember. But anyway, his whole thing, the multiple wives and all that other stuff. Women have always been, and it's very weird. It's very weird, right? Because you have a lot of cultures where women have always been the lesser. Mm-hmm. Then you have so many cultures, or you have so much in the same aspect. There's a lot of like respect for women, and so it's never. And so then it's not women are the lesser. Women are just different, right? Because caretaking, taking care of or homemaking was so much more valued very differently back in the day, because the only thing you had was your home and like whatever you could offer or whatever you could barter. So if you were a farm, you had your home and your farm. If you I don't know, it was agricultural. Yeah. Like life was agricultural, right? And so, thinking about African culture is very much the same. However, you did have purity royalty, and go back to even like Cleopatra. I know that was loosely based on a real. You did have kings and queens, right? You did literally have kings and queens, and the queen was always valued, but never before the king. Like think about Queen Elizabeth, right? She was only Queen Elizabeth because of the way their whole fucked up structure is, and who was born when, and so on and so forth. It's really weird, but she was queen because the king, her brother died early or something
like that.
Yeah. Weird. So anyway, I don't understand, and I'm not going to pretend to try to understand. Well, no, my idea of why women couldn't do both, for specific to like the Dahomey Tribe, was look at how Naniska began to think more emotionally once she realized that Sweet Girl was her daughter, right? She had been so stern with her. She saw something in her. She had an affinity towards her, and I believe that that's what mothers do. I believe that is a nurturing, that is a natural instinct for mom. She was nurturing towards her, but she was still tough, right? But think about how, like, and I don't want to say weak is the word, but think about how different her opinions and even her moves, think of how different they became once she realized that was her daughter, or as she was even moving toward that being her daughter. She was having, and apparently the nightmares were reoccurring, but they became to happen more often. And she just made, like, her decisions got different. And so I really think that if I had to draw any conclusions, that would be why that culture chose to not have women be mothers and warriors, because as a mother, you're going to sacrifice for your child each and every time. So
Right.
if you had the government secrets and somebody came to you and was like, well, we got your baby, you'd be like, well, shit, here it is. The code is 555-5555. Like every time.
Right.
So I could see it. It's not fair, but the power that women possess isn't always external. It's often internal. It's often the fact that we are nurturers, that we are caretakers, that we love, we support, and that we're in tune with our loved ones. That is often a woman's strength. That is often the most valuable thing she has to offer. Moving forward, somewhere at some point, and it's funny because I used to be such the womanist, and the older I get, I'm gonna say I can't always agree with these womanist, feminist views. A lot of times, that's not the lifestyle that I want for me. So I can't always agree. I absolutely want a partner. I absolutely want some joker to be there to have my back, me at his side, so on and so forth. I don't know about this whole him being the head of my household and him leading and all that other stuff.
It's not a part of the feminist views. It's not.
No, not a part of the feminist views. And I don't know how I believe in partnership. I believe in me picking up the slack for him, me supporting him, but I'm gonna get that same thing back. I believe in that, right? As far as him being the head of the household, I don't even like that term really. If you want to go around these streets saying it, okay, I'm not gonna knock your hustle. But head of the household just doesn't sit well with me. But I don't necessarily I don't knock it, right? If that works for some women, cool. Have at it. Do I want a man that will pay all the bills?
Sure.
I can just go off and teach yoga a couple times a week. Come through, friend, come through. But I will say, growing up, having seen my mom, because we idolize our mothers a lot of times. A lot of us, we idolize our mothers. And I saw my mom work and take care of home. In retrospect, I can see where she wasn't always great at the home thing. I don't know about job. It seemed like she was successful. She never got fired from that. So it seemed like she was successful on her job. And I saw where, the sacrifice were made at home. I ended up making dinner a lot of the nights. I ended up helping my brothers with their homework. You know what I mean? So I saw that sacrifice. But growing up, that is what I wanted. I've always wanted to be a working mom. I've always wanted the balance. But the older that I get, I'm realizing balance is something that is very, very hard. And I don't know how successful we as women are doing it. I'll say, and I'll just leave it at that because I'm not a mom. So, I ain't finna have you moms yelling at me. But I don't know how successful American women are being currently at balancing, because we have this increasingly high rate of anxiety, heart disease, all these other things, all these other manifestations that could potentially be coming from the fact that we're trying to live life in this balance that might not be there.
I don't think we have balance at all. But yeah. I just wanted to note, just for the record, before I move on, I believe in partnership. Like, I don't want to have to do everything by myself, but I also don't believe in men always paying all the bills, because financially that doesn't make sense. But that's just me.
I'm gonna leave a tip, boo.
Right. That's just me. But I just wanted to kind of point out one more, I guess you want to say, power struggle. I don't know if you remember, one of the king's wives wanted to be in charge. You said what?
I said Dahomey.
She wanted to be in charge so bad, and she was, quote, I guess she was, quote unquote, jealous of Denisia because she had more power over the king's decisions, I guess, but that was just
wouldn't you, like, if you, like, thinking that that's your spouse, right? And then thinking, and it could be a modern day take, right? But if my man's business partner is a woman, and he every time now maybe not his business partner, but in that structure, he was supposed to be king. And then there's the queen, and the queen is always kind of off to the side, but she kind of felt like, yo, he should be listening to me. I feel like my man should be listening to, look, I feel like that dude that been hanging out around, I feel like he should be listening to me. And I ain't even nobody queen yet. We ain't exchanged every vow, nothing. And I feel like he should be taking, listen, right now, I feel like he should be valuing my opinion. Listen, at least listen. Pretend like you like my opinion. You ain't gotta honor it. I don't know what the hell your business is about, actually. But at least pretend like you are listening to me. I like that shit. So I'm not completely mad at her. However,
I'm not mad at her. I'm just, pointing out the power struggle that was going on with that.
Oh, yeah, it was wild. And, it's just, that storyline bothered me a little bit, only because when we're talking to, you had the Dahomey, who were strong women, so on and so forth. But were they really women that got to make up their own minds about anything? The only thing they knew how to do was fight. Right. They don't know how to, I don't even know that they know how to, like, take care of a household, right? Because we didn't see who was back there cleaning up. We didn't see who was back there cleaning up, right?
Right.
And so those women made no decisions for the most part. The general decided when to fight, and that's what generals do. But for the most part, and maybe I'm relating it too much, like, to the military, the American military, but you don't have any power. You don't have any thoughts. You just, and then the one pretty chick, the one with the nails, I loved her character. Can't remember her name, but I love her character.
The tall one?
The one with the nail.
I think that's the one that got killed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, her.
Yeah. You heard her say so many times, she was like, you don't think about it, you just do it. You don't think about it, you just do it. So there was that, right? And then the contrast was the woman who was out here thinking, the queen, her opinion wasn't valued. So I didn't actually care for that whole concept and storyline. It bugged me just a little bit.
No, I get it. But also, like, I guess part of me is like, does she actually know enough of what's going on to have an informed opinion on what to sell the king?
Absolutely. It's just two different perspectives, right?
Right.
And again, I didn't really care for this storyline because Niska and kind of the king, they were all about preservation, and preservation is always a good thing. You want to, but that's in retrospect. We, as an American living in 2020, I can see how now I wish I could go back in time and tell all the Africans, don't sell your people. Don't sell that. Don't do that. Like, I wish I could go back and do that, right? But I have the gift of hindsight. She, for the most part, just saw it as a way of protecting her people on kind of that. Sure, she was flashy, but she saw it as a way of protecting her people as well. The other, Niska, saw it as protecting her people and preserving, within. She saw it as, I can protect my people by us, continuing to side with the colonial people. I'm trying not to say white men. I could see us. She wanted to provide that protection as well. So sure, I think she absolutely had the insight. Hers was just a different perspective. She was willing to take the easier route, the route that provided her more clout. And, it was just very Kanye of her. I couldn't resist. I couldn't.
That's funny, but it's true.
I'm sorry. Next subject or next topic. What you...
No, the last thing that I will notice that was the theme was, of course, what we just talked about was them redirecting what they were trading. Instead of slaves, they wanted to trade the palm oil. And like you said, it was just for preservation of their tribe and their people. But I saw that as Naniska taking this opportunity as a warrior to redirect her, I don't want to say anger, but whatever she felt from her sexual assault, to finding a cause that was bigger than her and giving her all to help make it better. So like you said, they had two different perspectives on what they wanted to do for their tribe. And I feel like part of that was from Naniska's experiences beforehand.
Could be. And that's how they gain perspective, right? Because
Right.
the different thing, and again, this is in contrast to the Queen in the general.
Right.
Queen was probably groomed from birth to be a queen, right? And so she's always had she's always experienced the finer things. Her struggle was probably getting her hair done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Naniska, on the other hand, yeah, like she was an orphan from the beginning, and then that one tribe invaded her village. She was fighting and ended up with the sexual assault of the dude. And so then, after she had the baby, that's when she came and she devoted her life to the Dahomey, right? So two completely different perspectives, or two completely different life experiences that drove different perspectives. So
Right.
again, the two women versus each other, like, it just, in a movie that's supposed to be about women power, it was kind of frustrating to see these two women going at each other, because it literally was just two different experiences from two different life experiences. They were both trying to protect their loved ones, or protect their communities, protect their families. It just looked very different to the two of them. One looked like preservation, one looked like selling off their people, again, as protection.
Right.
And I think what I would love to know more about was what kind of insight either one of them had, right? Because I think it was clear that everyone knew that their people were being sold, but like, did either one of them have any knowledge of what was happening to the people after they were sold, right?
That's true, and that's the perspective we don't even see, or we're
And
not.
you don't know, because again, I can speak from a woman living in 2020. Again, I want to go back and tell all of them, don't sell your people, don't sell them, right? But let's be honest, like, the slave trade was not a new thing. And I think that a lot of Black Americans have found comfort in thinking that white people went to Africa and stole us, when the truth is a lot of us were sold from people that look just like us. Because
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I feel like I read this somewhere. Was that actually the Europeans that came, or was this from people in like South America? Like these people in this movie.
So that's historically accurate, what was happening there. How you had tribes in Africa that wanted to get ahead, or they needed whatever, whether it be gunpowder, whatever the Europeans had to sell.
Right.
The Europeans discovered that slave labor was more valuable. So they came seeking slave labor. But the truth was, it wasn't like Europeans went and found a bunch of us in the woods, trapped and made us come to the Americas. That is how some people got here, yes, but a lot of us were actually sold, just like you saw happening in the film.
Right.
We were sold by our kings. We were sold in bets. We were sold in, we were just sold. Like, slavery is not new. Slavery is in the Bible. again, and that's one of the oldest things that I can think of. Slavery was in the Bible. Slavery was back in like the Egyptian times. Who the hell you think made the pyramids?
Right.
They weren't paid for. They weren't paid for that. They were slaves. They were slaves. It was people that looked like us, of course. They were Egyptian slaves of the Egyptians. But the reality is, like, slave labor has been a thing for forever. Now, slaves weren't always treated as horribly as what happened in the Americas. Usually slaves, they were working off some type of debt. Or it was more like sharecropping, I guess. So slavery hasn't always looked as horrible as I'm gonna say it. It hasn't been as horrible as the white people did it here in the America. It hasn't always been that bad. But yeah, slavery is not new.
Yeah. So are there any other thoughts as it pertains to the movie? Any themes that you want to touch on? Any extra, razzle dazzle?
I thought the movie was great. I feel like everybody should go see it. It is it is like really, really good. Not just from a woman's perspective, but I think it's also good because it's historically accurate. It is, it's historically accurate. It is not a true story, but it is historically accurate. And so constantly, the reoccurring theme that we see in our lives are history, or accurate depictions of history, are being taken out of our children's history books, our children's history classes. And so giving them any little piece of type of real history, I think, is important. So you should see this. I think that anyone that has little girls or thinking about having a little girl, has the possibility of having a little girl, you should go see this as well, because you can see that the value of the other opinion. I'll say that. And for Razzle Dazzle, I want you to go see Wakanda opening weekend. That was razzling and dazzling.
I'm gonna razzle and dazzle you right off the screen.
You shouldn't have said
it. You shouldn't have said it. We didn't have to talk about that. But anyway. So that's all. That's all we have about this film. Like she said, please go see it. It is very good. Very, very, very good. On to the next, shall we? Y'all know what we're about to say next.
We supposed to talk about something else? No, I didn't talk about.
No.
I got it. I'm focused.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we just got the last few, I'm going to tell y'all to share it because, we tell y'all this every week. Y'all hard-headed, but we tell y'all this every week.
One day we're going to find some listeners that actually share it. Mm-hmm. One day.
That sounds like shade for y'all. Y'all hear that? So share it on your social medias. Share it in your group chats. Share it everywhere you can. Tell your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All of that. And y'all know, do I have to say this? It's moving. It's always moving. Listen, we're not gonna talk about my hair today. That's why it's in this wrap. Anyway, y'all know we still got the questions down there for these episodes. Every once in a while, I go ahead and throw a question out there. I threw one out there last week. So if you all you got to do is go back on Spotify and hit the poll. You might have one this week, so just go and check. Go and check. But anyway, that's it, y'all. We about to be out.
We done.
We good?
We good.
Okay.
I'm good.
So as I tell y'all.
You already done. I'm ready to take a nap.
Oh yeah, it's past your nap time. Ooh, you're taking a late nap. Are you gonna wake up tonight, sis?
Get out of my life. I'm just here to make complications.
Well, take care of yourself, sis.
Fine. Bye.
Oh, God. Y'all know that she don't tell me take care. She don't want me to.
Take care, friend.
No, it don't mean the same.
Listen, stop going to your mama's house stealing her stuff.
I don't steal stuff. She gives me care packages. Like my cousin put up there that, you know, she go to her mama's house and she gives care packages. I said, I like the way you put that because that's what it is. It's care packages, okay? We can't help that your mama come to your house and steal your stuff.
Right. We're not the same. We're not the same. My mom came here and stole my tangerines.
All right, y'all. We out.
All right. Bye, sis. Love you.